Hey folks, so today I've got 5 essential tools for you to use as a startup, plus one bonus tool that I really like. Tool number 1 is an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. Not only is this going to give you the design tools that you're going to need to create some high quality visuals to make sure that your branding is on point, but it's also going to give you some business tools. So you're going to have things like Adobe Sign and also Adobe Acrobat and the ability to edit PDFs, which is something that I think all of us sort of find ourselves doing at some point in our careers. All right, so tool number 2 is actually part of the Adobe subscription, and it's the Adobe Express Learn. It's going to have a bunch of classes that you can use to figure out the fundamentals of branding. It'll teach you about colors and how to use them. There's a lot of really good learning opportunities through that Adobe Express Learn tool. Tool number 3. So, on the subject of learning, HubSpot has an entire educational series that if you log in, you can create a free account, and you can even get free certifications in marketing and sales and things like that. They've got a whole suite of education for you to go through, and I find them to be one of the best, especially for free out there. Tool number 4 is SBA.gov. Now, SBA.gov is going to have all kinds of tools. Now, you're going to be able to find templates to create business plans. You're going to be able to access information on getting loans to get your business off the ground. You'll also get access to SCORE, which is the Service Corps of Retired Executives. So that way you actually have, it's almost like unlimited free mentors, So I highly recommend SBA.gov. Tool number 5 is an accounting program. So the accounting program that I recommend if you're in startup phase is Wave. It's about $170 a year. There is a free version, but there are significant limitations to the free version. So in my opinion, it's well worth it to pay the $170 for the year in order to get the more fully functional subscription with Wave. One of the things that you're going to run into as a business owner is taxes and write-offs, but also you're going to need to know if you're actually making money. And it's really difficult to know if you're making money if you're not tracking things properly. So if you can't afford your own bookkeeper, for instance, then I highly recommend Wave. It's fairly easy to learn. However, once you do have enough money to afford a bookkeeper, I would highly recommend getting one because the likelihood that you're going to have everything categorized correctly is pretty low if you don't have any experience in accounting. And just as some background, my career has primarily been in the accounting field, so I've worked with a lot of small businesses, and then I see the types of mistakes they make. So it's okay to start off doing it yourself. However, definitely keep in mind that that's something you're going to want to invest in early, and not just to know where you're at, but also at the end of the year when you're working with your tax professionals. That's going to go a lot more smoothly if you have everything done correctly. Okay, so the bonus tool that I want to tell you about is actually one of my favorites. It is called Adobe Express, and it is essentially Adobe's answer to Canva. So if you have the Adobe subscription that I mentioned earlier, it's going to come with Adobe Express, and you will not have to go out and get Canva. Now, through the subscription, you're going to have access to the premium images and icons and things like that are within the Adobe Express program. But 2 of my favorite things are the ability to create branding. So you can go into Adobe Express and then set up what they call a brand, and you can give it the colors of your brand. You can tell it which typography you're using, etc. And then whenever you're using one of their templates, instead of having, like, let's say they've got a bright orange and green template, okay, and you like the layout and the icons and such that they're using within that template, but of course the colors don't match your brand. Well, if you've set up a brand within Adobe Express, you can just go over to the branding icon, click the button, and it will automatically apply all of your branding to that template. So you'll get the design with your branded colors and typography. The other thing I really like about Adobe Express is the ability to schedule posts through social media. Now, I believe they have 5 or 6 different social media platforms on there, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. They may have Pinterest. I can't remember all of them, but you can actually go into a calendar on Adobe Express, and after you've created your posts, you can schedule them through Adobe, and that way you don't have to log in every day and remember which posts you wanted to use. You can come up with a content calendar and just pre-map all of those posts. And in my opinion, it's a real lifesaver, because I know in the past I've taken the time to develop a bunch of things in order to post them, but then all the tasks that I have to accomplish start to eat into my day. Next thing I know, I don't post any of the stuff I created. So when I can just take a few hours on the weekend and get those scheduled out, I find it to be a huge help to me. So I hope you guys try out some of these different tools and let me know below which one you like the most. And if you've got other suggestions that you think are better than the ones I've listed, feel free to drop them in the comments below.